My thoughts on smoking cigarettes and tobacco. Some of you watching this video, you might have a cigarette habit, smoke cigarettes yourself. A lot of people who know me, when they, get an idea about what I'm about as far as my lifestyle, they know I exercise, I work out, and I eat pretty healthy, and I do other things to take care of my health. They're surprised to learn that I used to be a smoker. I smoked cigarettes off and on for about 20 years. I really picked up the habit my senior year in high school when I was done with sports, and I was turning 18 that summer, and then I worked in the bar business, and I picked up that habit. So from the age of really 17, 18, up to about a little over 37 years old, I had a behavior pattern of smoking cigarettes. And I guess, when you look at addiction, there's a lot of different criteria. I never had a physical issue with, just not being able to put them down. In fact, I would intermittently smoke at times. I would go days and not buy a pack of cigarettes. And then, on a weekend, I'd buy a pack. And that pattern could vary depending on what I was doing. So I played with the idea, I'll stop smoking cigarettes someday, or I'm eventually gonna stop. But that went on for about a period of 20 years. So I'm 47 now, and I don't smoke anymore. I quit smoking about 10 years ago. Right when I was about 37, I decided to be done with them. And I just said an important word, maybe controversial for some people. I said I decided, or the phrase rather, I decided. So when we talk about changing behavior, I am of the school of thought that we do have a choice and we do make decisions, and I do believe that we can be empowered to change our life. We are not total victims in terms of where we can't change or do something about our situation. We're all different. Some people can quit smoking cigarettes cold turkey. That was me. I kind of, had a pattern of where I would stop and then I would rationalize, and, because of my good health at the time, I've always worked out. Even when I had that habit, I would still exercise and work out. So I'd rationalize, I'm a young guy, I can get away with it. My blood pressure is great. My physicals are always good when I go to the doctor, and so on. So I would talk myself into continuing to socially smoke until I finally just mentally pulled that trigger when I decided I was going to be done. So for me, it was a pattern of about, I'd say, a few weeks to 2 months where I just kind of toyed with the idea because I wasn't serious. But when I finally became serious, I started getting more involved in a full-time personal training. I'm a licensed professional counselor, but I'm also a certified personal trainer. And I've worked in both industries, and it also used both services out of my studio I've had before. So I could not, live with that, to where if I'm going to be a personal trainer and be a rational role model for helping promote healthy lifestyle change, I can't do that and smoke cigarettes. That would just make me a hypocrite. And so that was one part of the reason of my motivation to stop smoking, but also out of respect for myself, my health, and my longevity. I ultimately it became more salient as you get older. For some people, not for everybody. You're going to have a diehard cigarette smoker to the day they die, and they'll be with an oxygen mask hooked up to a oxygen tank and COPD and the whole 9 yards. That's sad. You see people that are that diehard with smoking cigarettes up until the bitter end. So I am so thankful. That's one of the best things I've done for myself, for my health. Cigarette smoking, tobacco cigarette smoking is the number one most modifiable risk factor that's out there in terms of what's detrimental to your health. And by modifiable, that means you don't have to start, and if you have started, you can stop it. So there are some people who are just, as far as the physiological aspects of addiction of nicotine, they do struggle with that. But even then, I just, my own personal belief, the way I view it from my worldview is, even if you are uncomfortable perceivably from your point of view for a few days to a week, so what? The rest of your life is worth it. Are you willing to be perceivably irritable, anxious, uncomfortable, have to fight through cravings, for a period of 3 days to a week, whatever it takes, in order to regain and recapture your health and to have a better quality of life for the rest of the years that you have left. To me, it's a no-brainer, and logically that makes sense. So for the rest of you out there who are watching this video, who are still smoking, still struggling, I am of the opinion that even though, yes, there may be some challenges with stopping smoking, you definitely have it in you to do it if you want to utilize the tools that are within you, if you want to develop those tools and then to apply them. Change in lifestyle is huge. For me, exercising, changing the way I eat, staying busy, cognitively confronting any distortions I may have had, any rationalizations I may have had that were maintaining and enabling the behavior of smoking cigarettes. I mentioned a few of my rationalizations earlier. Or you may distort your beliefs about cigarette smoking. That applies to everybody except you. You're special, right? So whether there is an individual out there, you may hear of people, oh, he lived to be 90 and smoked every day of his life. Well, that exception is not the rule for the general population. And I can assure you that those people that lived that long very well may have lived longer had they not smoked, and their quality of life would have been better towards the end. So those are some of my thoughts on quitting smoking cigarettes and tobacco. If you need help with stopping smoking cigarettes, there's nothing wrong with reaching out and asking for help. Some people who had really serious addictions to tobacco and smoking cigarettes did get medical help as far as getting prescribed medications to help them through the acute part of withdrawing or coming off of smoking cigarettes. For myself, like I said, 20 years of a behavior of smoking cigarettes. My pattern of use, when I would just stop, thankfully I never, I would notice, I'd have a craving, or I'd want the cigarette. It was tied into social situations and had other triggers that would tie into that. But to me, I got through that adjustment period of coming off cigarettes. It was just mentally powering through the moment, if you will. So those are my thoughts. If you want to leave some comments below, feel free to do so. This is not a dig at people who have trouble quitting smoking. I'm not trying to pass judgment in terms of a moral standpoint, but it is of my opinion that if you want to quit, and if you truly are motivated and determined, you can deal with being perceivably uncomfortable for a short temporary period of time by comparison to get the rest of your life back. And on a side note, to not be a slave, because that's what you are. If you smoke cigarettes, you are a slave. You're shackled to the tobacco companies that profit off of your money that you spend every time you drop $7, $8 down for a pack, to make them rich. So just my 2 cents on that. So you leave me your thoughts, your opinions. Who here is a former smoker themselves? How did you quit? What did you do? Did you just kind of go cold turkey once you made up your mind like I did, and that was it? Did you have another strategy? Did you change your environment, your environmental circumstances, triggers? How did you manage that, and so on? For me, it wasn't that complicated. What was your solution if you're a former smoker? And for those of you who are smoking, the earlier you quit, the better. The body can repair itself, the lungs can repair themselves, but it's more favorable to you the earlier you stop smoking. You have a better prognosis versus waiting till you're 55, 60 years old after smoking for 35, 40 years. So anyways, if you're watching this video and you haven't quit smoking yet, I would encourage you to start with that, and then from there you can work on other parts of your life if there's other things you would like to change. Just focus on 1 or 2 things at a time in your life. Smoking's a big one, so if you haven't stopped that, I would start there. Small changes over time add up to really big changes and can be life-changing as far as the rest of your life. Until I make another video or talk to you again, y'all have a good day.